Hey guys, I'm Beignet,
And I'm Rugdealr.
and this is our project called NFA.
Yeah, cue the intro.
We're all gonna make it. Oh, yeah, we're gonna make it. We're all gonna make it in crypto.
I love that intro, man.
Yeah, it's super catchy.
You said
It's really hard to get out of my head. After we've listened to it a couple times, it's like just replays in my head all the time.
I know. I just ever since you first sent it to me, I was like, oh wow, this is just super catchy.
Yeah.
And what's the story behind that?
So someone sent that to me and was like, "Hey, I know you guys are working on a podcast. Feel free to use this. I'm not going to use it." So his links will be in the description.
Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the description. It's just great. Super talented guy. And thank you for that again. So this episode's going to be basically how we started in the space, how our names came to be, our alias names, right, in the crypto space, and just some basic goals we have with this project. So if you want to start.
Yeah, so beignet is I don't know if you guys know, it's a French pastry.
Right.
It's pretty much like a fried dough. It's like a donut.
Yeah.
And the way that I came up with that name was at the time there was a lot of accounts that had pastry names and like bread names, and they were all bullish on crypto. And I was like, oh, that's really funny. I'm
Yeah.
bullish on crypto.
Yeah.
And I like donuts. So I'm just going to call myself Beignet, and I'm half French. So
Yeah. Well, that definitely helps. And if you guys haven't tried beignets, there's a few places here in LA that have great beignets, and they're very delicious. So we
Yeah.
highly recommend that.
go try them.
Yeah, of course. So my name's Rugdealr. If you could tell based on the scenery behind us, my family does own a pretty big Persian rug collection.
Small.
And-
It's really small, guys. Just a couple of rugs.
Yeah,
Not that many.
Just a couple, but yeah. So I just thought it would be a fun spinoff on the space. How we have the term rug, and
Mhm.
that's a completely different meaning in our space as to the word
Right.
rug in real life. So I thought that was funny, and it sort of sounds like drug dealer, and I just thought it'd be kind of funny. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're the one that first brought it up.
Maybe.
You told me, hey, rug dealer would be like, you're like, oh, like your
Yeah,
dad does
I
this. in real life.
definitely thought it was a good funny idea.
Yeah, no. And I just went with it, and it's stuck ever since. So yeah. So our goals, if you want to go ahead and start, like what are our main goals?
Yeah,
with
so
NFA?
our goal is to kind of be like on all the platforms, just because we know that not everyone necessarily watches YouTube. Not
Right.
everyone will listen to a podcast. Not everyone reads a Medium article or spends time on Twitter. So like the whole point of that is to kind of have information on all those platforms. The audio podcast and the video is probably going to be mostly just us talking.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some people on that. The whole point, I guess, is to give people a voice, like let them have their stories heard so we can learn about everyone's origin stories.
Exactly. And to go off what he was saying, I mean, with the Coinbase news that just came out quite recently, like there's no doubt there's going to be hundreds of thousands of new users in this space, right? And
There will be.
And our hope is to just limit the amount of people that actually get rugged in this space. We want them to be informed. We want them to have all the information right in one place, easy to access, right? And just pretty much help them, right? Because when we first started, like there was no such thing as like a MetaMask tutorial, right? Or like how do you go about buying this, right? We we bought Sandbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, we had to first buy sand, right?
Right. And this was happening when apes were happening. Just some context for people who don't know at what period this was. This was during apes.
Exactly.
And we chose to buy sand.
We bought sand, which I after the Facebook meta news, our sand has gone up.
Yeah, it was still not a bad investment.
Not a bad investment.
It's just funny to look back at it and think like, oh, apes.
Right. But the reason I bring that up isn't to compare, our decisions, but more to explain, it is confusing at times for someone.
It's very confusing. There's like no resources on the internet.
Exactly. There's no resources, and there's just so many newcomers in the space that are getting like legitimately scammed.
Rugged.
Yeah, but even if it's not a rug, they're getting scammed
they're getting
through Twitter
hacked,
DMs or
psyops,
or
Discord.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll have episodes on that with people talking and explaining their situations in the future. It's one of our primary goals, right? I mean, we want everyone to be happy in this space. We're all going to make it, right? So it's like that's our main goal. We're trying to ensure, you know, a fun, safe, just
we want
community.
it to stay the way that it is now, because it's such a great time to be here.
Exactly.
So we don't want people to come in and get rugged or scammed or hacked or stolen, whatever, so that they do stay, because the more people that there are, like, the more fun we'll have.
Exactly. And I mean, besides the podcast, like you were saying, we are working actively to put out more Medium articles, whether that's through tutorials or just basic tips and tricks on how to protect yourself, or
kind of like an insight on our minds, like how we function.
So essentially all that alpha that, you know, we do in our day-to-day basis in the space, we're just slowly publishing that on Medium.
Yeah.
Just to help people. I mean,
well, and it's also like, you don't have to listen to us.
Right.
But it's so good to have an extra opinion, because then you kind of start thinking on your own ways.
Exactly. And I mean, it's hard for someone that just comes into this space and, you know, I mean, me and you were fortunate to have known each other in real life when we entered this space, right? But if you're just someone that's alone on the internet and you're like, oh, this looks really cool, I want to get into that, you don't really have anyone you could like firsthand trust, right? To ask for opinions or say like, hey, like, should I buy into this project? You don't have someone telling you, oh, like, do your own research in this way, right? So it's like, if we're even able to help 1% of people, that's a W for me, because it's like, I just want those people to join this space and just be happy.
Yeah. And also what's good about that is like, it's so positive that it's like, once we help people, those people will also be willing to help each other. Because like, look at us, like we found some help somewhere.
Of course.
And now we're starting a whole series on how to help people.
On how to help people. That's our primary goal here. And I mean, besides that, it's like, of course, there's going to be episodes with guest speakers with crazy stories. I mean, you know.
And also those guest episodes are good too, because it's like you get an insight onto how they think. So once you hear everything put together, then you're able to make your own informed decision.
Yeah,
you don't see something on Twitter or a shill post and you're like, this is gospel. You hear so many things, and from there it'll stimulate your brain, and hopefully that you'll come up to your own Dior or your own way of doing things,
your own decisions. And I mean, we're just providing, you know, anyone that listens or reads or catches us even on TikTok, we're just trying to provide you with the tools to do that yourself. Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're going to be posting content on TikTok. Obviously, we're not going to show anything, right? We're not trying to, you know, sell you any project.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're not here to make money.
Exactly. Like the first thing I told Beignet was, you know, I don't want to monetize this.
Yeah, it's just a passion project. Exactly. Where us, by doing research on how to help you, also helps us.
Exactly, because the more we listen to your guys' feedback and your guys' stories and experiences, we're able to educate ourselves too, and that goes both ways, right?
Yeah, because it's possible that people have experienced something that we haven't yet, and that's huge. It's learning from your own mistake is its own thing, and it's sometimes necessary to kind of fall and then get back up and then go from there. But also seeing other people's mistakes. Like, that's why history is so important. You're supposed to look at history, learn what happened, and hopefully we don't make the same mistakes, even though we do. But
I mean, that's a different conversation. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. I mean, we're just setting a certain level of precedence in the space, and just that's going to keep moving forward, right? Like the space moves so fast. I'm sure many of you listening, like you guys like know, like a day in the NFT world is like a week in any other industry, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It just moves at such a fast pace. It's and that's another thing we're trying to take care of. Like it's really hard to keep up with the space.
Yeah.
Like if you have a full-time job or you're a student, it's hard to put the time in to read Twitter every day, read Discord, keep up with your projects, like the announcements. Like there's a lot going on in this space.
Well, that's a good point too. It's like some of our shows will probably be covering or not covering, but certain topics will come up in the conversation just because that's what's happening in the current time of the recording of that episode.
I mean, it's current events in our space. And, you know, maybe you didn't have the chance to read up about a certain event, and we'll bring that to you. We'll give you the TLDR just so, you know, you could just
make your own decision.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this, because, you know, with this project, we're really trying to have this podcast be community driven, right? It's like we don't know where this is going to be in a year's time.
Yeah.
But we just know we're still going to be doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's built by the community. Like,
exactly.
We're taking our time and doing this for everyone. And then we're going to have people who are going to come on and talk with us, and they're also doing it for the people.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this all, because, you know, we when we first thought of this, you know, at first we were like, oh, like, do we really do it? Do we not? And then, you know, one night I was just talking to Beignet and I was like, well, let's just do it. Like, we really have nothing to lose by doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like the connection, the relationships we've built so far are so like beautiful and positive. Like, we just want that to stay alive once this NFT market is a lot more mainstream, right? We're slowly getting there.
Yeah.
You know, with Visa buying a punk. I mean, you look at the big news that happened a couple of days ago. Staples Center.
MoonPay.
I mean, you look at MoonPay. That's a whole nother story. But I'm talking about Staples Center.
Yeah.
That's no longer the Staples Center after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Crypto.com Center.
Yeah. And it was, so that has only been Staples Center. It was built as Staples Center, right?
I believe so, because I do know the Lakers played at the Forum prior in Inglewood.
Right.
Don't quote me, but I am pretty sure it was the Staples Center. But I could be wrong.
No. But I'm saying that this stadium, when it was first built,
right,
the first name it ever had was Staples Center.
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so that's historic.
Right,
it's changing to Crypto.com.
And that's for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20-year deal. And if you're not bullish on the NFT space, I mean, at the bare minimum, you could sort of see the future of crypto as a whole and Web3, because it's like 20 years is not a short amount of time for Crypto.com to
Well, it's great also that they're doing that, and now this stadium is going to be Crypto.com, because so many people are going to start looking into crypto.
Oh yeah,
and then that's where we come in. It's like they don't know about a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
We didn't know about a lot of stuff, and you have to learn on the way. But
yeah,
if you do know the right people, hopefully they can teach you kind of like a accelerated program.
Exactly. I mean, I know people that come up to me and they're like, hey, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm like, go for it. Like, that's a great decision. And they go out and buy it on Robinhood. I mean,
well, for now, Robinhood,
yeah,
for those who are listening or watching, you don't technically own your coins.
Right.
It's like you own a coupon or a voucher that says like, hey, I'm allotted this amount of coins.
Right.
But if you try to transfer them, which you can do everywhere else when you own your own stuff,
yeah,
that you can't take them out.
Exactly. And I mean, nothing wrong with people that use Robinhood, but if you are planning to hold your coins for a long time and have full ownership of your coins, we do recommend other routes of doing that, whether that's through a DEX or Coinbase or, you know, or even MetaMask. But
yeah, and what you said about a lot of people reaching out to you is a good point, because a lot of people reach out to both of us and ask us about like, hey, what do you think about this NFT, or what are this project, this coin? And it's difficult because you get a lot of those, and it's like you have to repeat the same thing multiple times. So if we were already going to have that conversation with someone, why not have that conversation in the public and then have everyone be able to listen to it? Like just the other day, someone asked me how to contract mint.
Right.
And they're like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, oh, perfect. We already have an article written for you. I just sent it to them. And they're like, oh, this is awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Even if we could help people like that, like in the smallest way, that just makes me genuinely happy that we were able to help someone and provide them with valuable information that's accurate, up to date, and is like we're not like scamming, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that would be taking advantage of someone like that. And
yeah, like, hey, send me 0.15 and I'll contract mint for you.
I mean, not just that, it's more of a compromising their wallet through whether it's a screen share or whatever the case may be, private keys. I mean, we'll go into that in future episodes. It's just, you know, we just don't want newcomers in the space to be taken advantage of, because
it leaves a horrible taste in your mouth.
They will probably never come back if they have a bad first experience.
Yeah, or they will really late, and then they'll be like, damn.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why did I leave and not come back?
Exactly. And I mean, the space is moving so fast. It's like I was saying earlier, it's like you really got to keep on top with everything. So it's like, I mean, that's really our main goal, right? But I mean, besides that, we do want to bring you like funny content. Like, we don't want to just sit here and talk about just
boring, dry information,
shit, right? So it's like at the end of the day, it's more of just, you know, a show that you could just tune into, whether you have an hour of time or half an hour of time, whatever.
Driving in the car, at the gym,
whatever the case may be. Where, I mean, don't get me wrong, we'll still spill alpha on the show. I mean, like,
Yeah, I mean,
none of it
the
is,
main our main goal, like we keep repeating, is education.
exactly.
We want to teach people the good ways of doing things. I mean, who knows? Maybe we don't know. We obviously don't know everything actually.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
And maybe the information that we give is not like super great, but it's a start. Like no
Yeah.
one's really sharing information. Everything's
Right.
being gate kept behind Discords,
Exactly.
NFT like access memberships, and it's like that's cool, but what about the person who can't afford a $500 membership
Right.
for a space that they don't even know? It's like gyms offer you trial memberships, but like nowhere do you have a trial education membership.
Right. And I mean, that's the thing. We're not even trying to do anything with, you know, monetizing this platform of ours. Like we just want to help. Like
Mhm.
that is our goal. Like we're just trying to help people.
Well, because helping people, teaching them is the only way that we're going to push the space forward.
Exactly.
Because if you
Yeah.
teach someone who's new to the space, and let's say this person is very knowledgeable in the IRL world, and then you introduce them to the metaverse, to NFTs, crypto, and then they realize like, oh, wow, this space is really like a sandbox. Like you can do whatever you want. And then they bring a new innovation to the space.
Right.
That would have never happened if they got rugged and then they left and never came back.
Right. I mean, there's still a ton of super smart people that are still bearish on the NFT space, right?
Yeah.
And whenever they finally take the leap of faith and say, you know, listen, I'm going to try this out, or, you know, I have an idea that I want to pursue in this space, a lot of times it works out. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times it doesn't. Like, another thing we really want to focus on in this show is like, not everything is fun and rainbows in this space.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
because it's like, you know, we've been rugged before, and obviously we're not going to go into that on this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it'll come out in conversations in future episodes.
And it's like, there are a lot of times where we're just like, oh, like, I'm kind of pissed today. I just lost a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's physically no way to get it back. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't like the stock market where if you lose some shit, like you're FDIC insured. We have none of that.
Right.
That's the whole point of decentralization, right? That's the Web3 that we're pushing for, which, don't get me wrong, it's great and all, but, you know, there are some downsides like that, but that's what we have to give up in order to live that fully, you know, decentralized community life, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, not everything is going to be, you know, happy. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're going to.
And kind of like the toxic side of the space is that everyone's like, oh, it's all rainbows. It's all
Right.
great. And everyone talks about like, oh, wow, I flipped. I made so much money. Like I started with $10
I mean,
and now I have $1 million. Like, yeah, those are great stories. And it's super awesome for those people. Like, it's so awesome to hear those kind of stories. But it's also like, we need to but we need to cover also the other end, because those people are all usually just quiet and feel maybe ashamed to talk about what happened to them, because all around them, it's only good stuff.
right.
So it's good for us and other people that will come on our show to talk about their downfalls, so that people who are listening can feel okay also talking about them. So we all learn as a community.
Only way we're going to get better together, right? Like that is a main goal of ours. And another thing I want to briefly touch on is there's tons of builders, artists, creators that are sort of in that gray area of like, oh, do I want to go into the NFT space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
because it's scary if you don't know any information.
it is. And I mean, you hear, you know, some people say, oh, you have to make your own contract, like you have to deploy it, you have to buy a certain amount of ETH.
Mhm.
It's a lot to take in for someone that's not even in the crypto space, right?
Yeah.
And there's tons of talented people. And, you know, another goal of ours is to help people like that, because it's like, say you are a photographer and an artist that is really talented and you want to get into the space. It could be intimidating at first.
It could be. It is intimidating.
It is intimidating. And it's like, if we're able to even help people like that, that's great. Like, I would be so happy if I were to help someone, you know, teach them how to sort of like make their own contract, deploy it, their own collection, and they have full ownership of that, right? And to see something like that, like, potentially take off and change someone's life, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, even if it doesn't go that far, like
Right.
even if we help someone learn about the crypto space and then they make their own friends,
Exactly.
they're on their own journey, it's still cool to to think that, oh, we helped these people. They came in and they're happy here, and they're going to probably do the same thing.
Like I was saying earlier, it's that chain reaction of just positivity and good vibes, because at the end of the day, besides, you know, us making money on certain projects, the community and the vibes is what keeps those endorphins going, right?
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I'm going to go check Twitter. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm going to see what my friends are up to. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Like yesterday, we went to go hang out with people that probably we would have never hung out with before the NFT space.
Oh, for sure.
Like we would have just been at home.
Yeah, just
playing video games
or something.
Working.
You're working. So it's like in that regard, that's the most beautiful like aspect of the space, in my opinion. And I'm sure you'd agree. Because
I mean, look, there's no doubt that we all came here for money. You saw how much money people were making. You're like, wow, this is crazy. I can literally print money.
Yeah.
And so you come for the money. You're like, oh, the art's actually kind of cool. You start understanding NFTs. You're like, oh, I understand now. I'm paying for art. And then once you spend time in those communities, you're like, wow, these people are actually really cool. I want to stay here just to be with these people. Yeah. The money's cool. The art's cool. But I mostly care about the people that I met in the space.
It's the community, man. And that's what, I'm a little nervous about, because, like we were saying, once there's more people in the space, there's going to be a lot more toxic communities.
Yeah.
A lot more toxic people.
Well, it's going to be so hard because, like, think about mods and all them.
Right.
They have the job, kind of, the burden on their shoulder to kind of keep positive vibes and make sure people are not saying racial slurs.
Right.
Posting bad gifs in the discords and all that kind of stuff.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it, of where we want to start. I mean, for this first season of episodes, we're going to have guest speakers on pretty much most of the episodes, where you want to go into multiple things, but obviously we won't go into detail on this intro one. We're going to go into like security. I mean,
hopefully we touch on all things NFT, all things crypto,
all things NFT.
That's our goal, is to kind of have, like, not be experts in everything, but at least teach everyone a little bit about everything, so that they can kind of go and be like, oh, I like this, so I'm going to focus more on this side of things, or I don't like it, so I'm going to go see what other avenues there are, because there's a million avenues that you could take with NFTs. Yeah,
of course. I mean, there's just so many little pockets, right? You have the PFP space. You have I know people that
one-of-one art.
Well, of course, the one-of-one art.
Photography, generative art.
Gaming NFTs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, land. We were talking about Sandbox.
Land, right. And I mean, there's just so many little pockets, right? And they're all great. Don't get me wrong. It's just like we sort of have a little bit of experience in all of them, right? So we're still able to, we've probably been rugged in every one of them too. The more I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, probably most of them, but don't get me wrong. We've also had great experiences in all those things.
But that, like we were saying, you have to sometimes fall on your face to learn. And our goal is so that we already fell on our face.
Yeah.
We got back up. So hopefully maybe when you fall, it'll just be a trip and you won't fall on your face.
That's a really great analogy, actually. I didn't think of that, but that's really good. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about in this first episode?
I think we pretty much covered it. Maybe that you guys will catch us in Miami.
Yeah, of course. We're going to be in Miami. Obviously, if you guys don't know, Beignet, Kevin, and I believe All Out of ETH.
Yeah.
So they started the unofficial Cool Cats events team, right?
Yeah.
So first they did one in LA. It was great. If any of you guys were there, it was just super homey, amazing. And then they had one in New York that was also iconic. It was at Quad Studios, I believe.
Yeah, Quad.
Same spot Tupac actually got shot at in the elevator and survived. So there's a lot
and also many legendary singers, songwriters, producers went platinum in that studio.
Yeah, no, that was great. So they're going to be throwing their third event in Miami for Art Basel Week. I'm not sure if the details are the details.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll be posting details on Twitter. If by the time we upload this, there's like actual details, those will be in the description. You guys can find our Twitters.
Yeah, we could retweet that on our NFA Twitter as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides that, I mean, if you guys do see us in Miami, we're going to be at the Cats event for sure.
Yeah.
Besides that, just
come say hello.
Yeah, come say hello. I mean, we're going to have this whole setup. We're going to take all our podcast shit there. So our hope is to just talk to people and hear about, their stories, right? Whether you're a first timer in the space or you've been collecting since 2017.
Yep.
It's like, we want to hear it all.
It's like being at school or at summer camp, except you're not like stuck with your age group. Like you get to mingle with like everyone at the summer camp.
You're actually interested.
Yeah. And it's fun summer camp.
It's fun. It's not like you're just sitting in class, like waiting for the bell to ring. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I really love about the space. Like there's never a boring moment. Right. It's like, I never wake up, check Twitter and I'm like, oh shit, I hate doing this.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like a grind.
It doesn't feel like a grind. And that's the best part of it. And, like I said, we're going to be in Miami. So if you guys do see us, stop by, say hi.
And if anyone listening to this has like a story they want to tell or want to come on our podcast or maybe have information that they want to give to us anonymously and help us spread good information, please reach out to us.
Just DM either me or him on Twitter or even the NFA page.
And all of our links will be below to our Medium articles, all of our socials. So go ahead and follow all those also.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Do you want to play that outro song?
Yeah,
Same
sure.
one we played? I mean, it's just so nice.
We're all gonna make it. Oh, yeah, we're gonna make it. We're all gonna make it in crypto.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you in the next episodes.
Thank you guys.
Peace out.